This is day one of Welcome to Derry. You guys ready? And action!
First day on set.
The magnitude of it is unfathomable.
It's super exciting.
Once we were done with the movies, there were things left that we wanted to tell.
Originally, we wanted a prequel movie, but then it evolved into something bigger. Welcome to Derry is based on the interludes of the book.
The interludes show you a little morsel of the history of it.
I thought if anyone would believe me, it'd be you guys. This story's insane. Look where it's coming from.
We are taking those important events and shedding some light around it.
Our first season is 1962, which is 27 years before the first film in 1989. Andy came up with the idea of going backwards.
There's a different kind of fear in 62 than there was in 89. There's racial issues. There is a specific fear of a nuclear attack and war. People here are more concerned about an attack from Russia.
The supernatural fear is a byproduct of the fear in everyday life. Fear of the unknown, of what is different to us. We see our children who are witnesses to this fear, and then we see the adults who create a lot of this fear.
Everything about Derry relates to our real world, to the point where everything horrible that happens in Derry can actually happen in every town in America. This is where it becomes almost like a symbol. Does it exist because we believe in it? But there's always that lingering question. Is all of this product of supernatural evil or the evil intrinsic to human beings?
What is that?
A clown.
Andy had such a good time working with Bill Skarsgard that being able to also continue to explore Pennywise, but also the man before Pennywise, Bob Gray, that was something that attracted us a lot.
Pennywise is such a mystery. We wanted to know more. Telling the story of the indigenous people is very important because they are the ones who faced this evil for the first time. It's a story that is not seen before in the IT movies. Our journey was an inventive path because there are a lot of things that we don't know because they don't exist. In this series, our attempt is to unveil certain of those mysteries, but create some others. This season focuses a lot on the theme of family. The Hanlon family is in the center of the story. Leroy Hanlon is the grandfather of Mike. Mike is one of our beloved characters in Chapter 1. In this series, we tell the story of Leroy as a younger man.
We really wanted a prototypical 1962 nuclear family. A staunch father, a military man, a mother who seems on the surface like a stay-at-home mother, but she's got a lot of her own stuff going on. And then you have the son who's very different from the father.
It's exciting to explore the life of that family, how they arrived for the first time to Derry.
Don't be looking for trouble. There's gonna be trouble anywhere we go. That's the country you swore your life to defend.
I love period pieces. I was having a blast throughout this whole time, man, just being a fan of the franchise. It's been a treat.
When I read the script, I really love that we're tackling both the existential but also like the material realm and the hardship of, I guess you could say, our ancestors.
We go into the military world because it was the height of the Cold War. There is a very important naval base in Maine.
The Black Spot is one of those tragic events that we chose to build our story around.
The Black Spot is a speakeasy for African-American airmen who were serving on the Derry Air Force Base. According to the book, Dick Halloran was there. Dick Halloran, who is one of the most iconic characters in the lore.
We decided to give him a bigger dimension and a bigger protagonism in this story.
When I read the scripts, I was very excited. I remember being like, oh, this is like a chunk of an exploration of his soul.
The general teams up Dick Halloran, who is a guy that has supernatural powers, with Leroy Hanlon, which is a man without fear. Those two characters make a very good team to accomplish the mission that Shaw has in mind.
Okay, let's go. 1, 2, 3!
It's been magical. People will be immersed in a world that is very rich, funny, scary as hell.
Hopefully we take the fans into a journey of exploring those obscure events in the past of the story.
So this is day 1 of Welcome to Derry, and it's going pretty well.
We love period. We love the texture, we love the change of language. Once we were done with the movies, Andy came up with the idea of going backwards to visit crucial moments where everything changed.
When he never turned up anywhere else, they presumed homicide. That means murder.
A lot of those characters we had to come up with. They were not in the book, and it was a lot of fun.
Lily, Teddy, Phil, and Susie. And it's the story of them trying to figure out what happened to Maddie, this young, sort of slightly odd boy.
Maddie, he's a baby. I think that by hanging out with him, I'm tarnishing my reputation.
And why would he run away? Gee, I don't know. Maybe because he had just about no friends in the whole wide world, and the only ones he did have had to be paid to go to his birthday.
Teddy is holding out hope that Maddie is still alive, and they're gonna find him.
Well, that complication at the end of the standpipe. Lily rejects him, and that's kind of his last straw. I gotta get out of Derry.
Maddie, wait! There it is.
The boy was last seen the night of January 4th at the Capitol Theater.
We have to see the event that kicks off the Pennywise cycle.
Get in before you catch your death of cold.
And it always has to be traumatic.
Well, we're headed to Portland, so you hitched the right ride.
The first thing Maddie encounters is one of those perfect American nuclear families. And that's not what he ultimately encounters. It's an inversion of that perfect early 1960s family. And that's why we wanted to have the mutant baby. You know, the attack of the perfect family.
Radiation resulted in highly unusual birth defects.
And it's a bit of a preparation that it does. Reminds Maddie of this horror before it manifests.
I thought you said we were heading to Portland.
And he loves working with special effects. And many times we support them with visual effects.
We had a real car, and we had all the interactive light and all the backgrounds projected digitally. And then in combination with the practical lights, we were able to kind of get a very good match one-to-one with what we shot on location.
Let me out!
Out! O-U-T!
O-U-T!
EMP airbag system as we start rocking it side to side.
Looks like somebody else wants to get O-U-T!
We had to make a false body of the mother. I was in the back seat behind her, and my arm in the belly of the fake body pushing the baby out.
O-U-T! O-U-T!
The baby has an absorbed twin. He doesn't have eyes. He has one wing. All these things that are fun to play with.
An innocent soul that is just trying to get away from a place of fear. Poor Maddie.
Trouble, 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 trouble. I remember that song, and I remember the way they whisper that. And I thought, oh, that's a really creepy way to start the show.
Maddie?
Wait, what's going on? The first time I read the script, I was hoping that I'd either survive for the entire series or die in a really awesome, gory way. I got what I wanted.
It's the same incarnation as the mutant baby. He appears magnified in size, the same size that he had on the projection.
And through! And baby bumps up!
The idea is that the baby is the same size as it is on the screen. This baby is now 6 or 7 feet tall.
It needed to be 20 feet off the ground, so we had to attach it to a painter's pole.
2, 1, baby!
Motion performer on set that's kind of acting out the creature's movements.
One of the first ideas in the writer's room was once the audience falls in love with a set of losers, and give them a bit of a quick exit.
If the characters that are seemingly our heroes die at the end of episode 1, then no one will ever be safe in this world. The idea of creating this horrific event at the end of episode 1 has to do with the desire to create shock in the audience. No one is safe.
In episode 2, we go straight into meeting new characters.
I'm Rich, by the way. Will.
The characters themselves came out of the social dynamics of 1962. You had Cold War tensions, you had racial divisions, you had fear of change.
Richie is a Cuban American living in a country that is suspicious of Cubans because of the Cold War. Ronnie is in the worst of situations because her father is falsely accused of a terrible crime.
Catalota Square Central.
Lily is mocked and bullied because she lost her father.
Weren't you wearing that sweater yesterday?
We see Marge's fear of being left out of the cool girls. And Will, who's a fish out of water because he's the new kid and black in a very white town. The Hanlons arrive in Derry thinking that they're going to be living a very suburban life, but things don't quite work out like that.
Leroy is the poster child of what a man was in the 60s. He is a man that lives to take care of his family. He's strong, forthright, brave, serving in the military and the Air Force. This man is a man of morality, someone who believes that whatever is wrong in the world can only be fixed by what's right in the world. Above all else, he just wants what's best for his family and always leads with that.
This thing is amazing!
You think your old man doesn't know his own kid?
Last present got me was a tie.
Will and Leroy definitely aren't the same people. He wants him to be this big, tough military guy. When Will, he just likes science books and he just wants to play with his telescope. So he leans towards his mom a little bit more because she's more accepting of who Will is.
Charlotte feels like she's put on the earth to help people, and she's sticking to it, and she's sticking by her husband. She's gonna make the most of where she's been put. I did a montage of exploring Derry. You can feel when something horrific has happened, and you feel that in Derry. There's this patina of like, no, everything's great. And then when I go into the butcher, it was the perfect amount of, okay, everything is polite, everything is neat, everything's tucked in. But then I see boys fighting across the street.
Why is no one stopping this?
Boys will be boys.
And then when I go to break it up, no one bats a lash. Everybody's just like, as if nothing happened, which is strange.
It's a lot of fun to me to create these horrors, and each of the characters have their own traumas.
Pennywise will always attack on your fears. That's his most effective tool.
You don't need to make up fake creatures and monsters. There's enough evil in the world itself. That, to me, is where the real scares lie. And so it's trying to find what is the character most afraid of.
Ronnie has this crazy guilt about having killed her mother at childbirth.
It, knowing this, turns into this horrifying creature and basically turns her sheets into the womb. She thinks she's drowning in this like amniotic fluid that suddenly is created under the sheets.
And, very quickly you realize that she's actually inside of her mother again. We see the belly itself kind of, moving and interacting with these punches that are happening. And next thing you know, boom, she comes out into the bedroom and she's kind of been birthed back into the room.
We ended up coming with a thing where we had actually ejected her out of a fake prosthetic womb, and she lands on the floor in all the liquid.
When we knew we had our sequences, when we added slime, because then she's just covered in placenta goo.
It all looks so real, which also really helped me get into the mood.
The idea of Pickle Dad was intimately related to Lily Bainbridge. Her dad died in a pickle factory accident. She had a mental breakdown and ended up in a mental recovery facility. It's very closely related to her trauma.
Daddy?
And it knows. It's a creature that is an abomination. And then all of his organs and body parts sort of conflate into this octopus-like creature.
There were these intestines wrapping around me, and it was just a really cool first scare scene, and just showed me how much Andy's imagination comes to life.
It's terrifying and horrible.
We decided to start episode 3 with a flashback to see the history of it and visit our characters' crucial moments where everything changed.
We wanted to present a monster that would be part of the traveling circus or the traveling carnival. First time that he meets the Skeleton Man is the real Skeleton Man. Later on, when he gets lost in the western woods, it's the incarnation that it creates to scare Francis Shaw.
Run, come on!
Also, we wanted to see how the connection between Rose and Shaw was born.
What was that thing?
Can you keep a secret?
In it, the native people of Maine are incredibly important because they were the first to encounter it.
When you meet Rose in 1962, she is now basically a clan mother or leader within the children of Maturin. When we see the Air Force going out, the boys are immediately, let's get them the hell off our land. Rose understands it's a big machine and it's something to sit back and watch.
You want to stop them? I don't. Not until I find out what it is they're actually doing out there.
So when Francis comes back out of the blue in 1962, I felt in that moment it was back to us 11, 12 years old again. That same spark was there.
You're in charge of the digs.
You can show us exactly what areas to stay away from. It's nice to see you, Rose.
You too.
If General Shaw is leading this mission, we wanted to have a personal connection between him and it.
He remembers his experience as a kid in Derry, when his father was stationed here.
Because Shaw had such a close interaction with it as a little kid, this is something that stuck to him. And he kept a memento, a device that helps him and eventually will help Dick Halloran as well. Dick is a great tool because he has powers and he can see things that other people can't see, including the future.
He's mentioned as kind of a side character in one of the interludes of the Black Spot. We decided to give him a bigger dimension in this story.
Dick is originally played in The Shining by Scatman Crothers, and this is a younger version of him. In the helicopter, Dick is finally being properly utilized, so it's important for Dick to make sure that he gets results. But he doesn't know what he's jumping into. He's arrogant. But it's like, I got the powers. It's not going to be that big a deal. Dick is warped into a reality that is beyond his capabilities currently. And he can feel when he touches it that DERRY is bigger than what he thought. That's when we get into the cistern. And if we're talking about the cistern, that set is rock and roll.
The cistern in this show, we recreated the door that it came through and the pile of toys in the old wagon. And then the rest was kind of in black limbo with water on the floor.
It was quite an elaborate system of sewers and depths of water that went in that all needed to be slightly dark with particulate floating, and we needed to have control of the temperature at all times and control of the pH levels. I'm not sure you could have turned the camera in a way that those sewers didn't look amazing.
And that's when he first comes upon Pennywise, and he starts to realize he's not in anybody's head, someone is in his head. And he sees the terror of the history of DERRY, but then he starts to see the terror of his own life experience in there, and that's when he's like, oh, someone's flipping the channels of my mind, and that's the terror of it all. Oh no, something's better at this than me, and you want me to catch him. I don't see this happening.
People only believe what they can see for themselves. How are we supposed to get proof?
It all starts with the kids' desire to find an evidence. They come to the conclusion that they have to take a picture of it, which is something that never happened in other iterations of it. Richie comes up with this idea, and in order to conjure an oricha, which is the way he calls it, they have to do a ritual in the cemetery at midnight.
He just wants to fit in. He made all that up. That's not true. Making up all this mumbo-jumbo? Monsters, ghosts, it's all mumbo-jumbo. So you still don't believe me? I guess it didn't really work as planned.
It decides to appear as the corpses of the dead kids that were their friends. The way they appear is actually the real corpses of the kids that are fueled by an inner ectoplasm. So that combination is very scary and interesting to me.
We're shooting some close-up action of the kids that were riding on bicycles as they're being chased by a bunch of ghosts. This basically is a much more controllable environment where they don't have to worry so much about balancing and, bike riding. They can kind of just do performance.
It gave us new insight in the filming world because we had to input the SPFX, us turning and everything, because again, none of that stuff is happening in real life.
It was really cool to see how the rigs worked and being in front of a blue screen. It was great.
It's a lot of fun to me to create these horrors. One of the themes of it is power of unified belief. I think Pennywise is a monster made of belief.
What is that?
A clown.
It acts in mysterious ways. Very often he appears only to his victim as their worst fear, and then when the victim is scared enough, he will eat them. Why does it target kids? Mainly because kids are the most capable of believing in things that don't exist.
The supernatural fear depends on what one believes, right? We see our children who are witnesses to this fear, and then we see the adults who create a lot of this fear.
It can do a range of different things, and one of them is create fogs in adults where maybe the picture was there, but they didn't see it.
The statue.
No, are you blind? It's a clown.
The only thing this is proof of is that you, Lily Bainbridge, are trying to buy yourself a one-way ticket back to the nut house.
And the fog of DERRY is the way that its existence in that town affects all the grown-ups. They see horrible things, kids go missing, and no one panics. What it does for it is it allows it to have its feeding cycles without any meaningful resistance.
The fog is a byproduct of fear. So rather than facing the monsters, people simply forget.
Each of the characters, they have their own traumas. So the horrors that appear in front of them are a reflection of their own personal fears. Will is terrified of the image of his dad on fire. It uses this to season his fear.
For that sequence, we built a robotic fish that could swim, and we had to keep it on a line so it didn't disappear down the river, but we could have it swim in a circle around their feet through the rocks.
You see an arm come out of the water and grab him and pull him in. So we just had a burnt arm, like a glove, slip-on glove, because I had to be on a stunt double that was underwater that could reach up and grab Will.
That scene, I'm telling you right now, was probably the coldest I've ever been in my life. I wasn't even really focused on the burnt arm that was at my display. Like, it was just so cold. And I had to act like I wasn't shivering in it.
They pulled me under!
Wait, what?
With you!
You gotta relax, you're not making any sense.
It's the truth! Hold down!
Leroy wants to believe the things that Will is explaining to him are happening, but it's outlandish. Leroy, he's a military man. He knows about the horrors of war, but even if I can't see what he's seeing, I can see the fear in my son's eyes, and that's enough, I think, to get any parent's attention.
There's something here. In DERRY. Something bad.
All right, no more running around till I find out what's going on around here.
What?
School and back, and that's it.
Mom! I've been playing Charlotte as someone who knows, but not knowing, not being able to name it. There's this energy that's pernicious. Something's afoot.
This business with the missing kids. Do I need to be concerned?
Rose does this thing with her eyes that's just so penetrating, like she can see things. And I think Charlotte's wise enough to know this woman knows something.
You know the story about the monster in the Western Wood?
The Galoo? All of the kids know that story.
For me, it was very important to give protagonism to the people that lived in Maine in ancient times and that is still living in DERRY.
They were the first to encounter it because they were living in the land before anybody else. They have a lot more knowledge about its meaning, rules, and logic. They stay away from it. The white men, not so much.
I was actually really surprised at some of the parallels between how it is whatever you are afraid of and the horrors that the introduction of white settlement and religion actually has done in real life to indigenous populations.
It started to expand because he could get more food thanks to the settlers that were walking into the Western Woods, the forbidden zone of this people for centuries. What the indigenous people created was a cage around it. If it wasn't for the indigenous people, it would have taken over the world.
Our young Indian friend, Tanya was his name, he knows the location of exactly what we're looking for, but he refuses to answer our questions. So Airman Halloran is going to answer them for us.
Tanya has a duty to do, and he is in this secret society, the Children of the Maturin, and this society is there to protect people of the entity It.
When he first meets Tanya, it's for Dick to do the same thing he did to Leroy. Get in his head, find the key, solve the puzzle. Should be easy peasy, but he sees me as just a military guy, spits in my face. He did it a lot. I didn't like it. And I think Dick recognizes a bravery and courage in this guy who has no powers. He just is holding tight to something in his head.
Remember, this is our entire lives as the children of Materna, are to watch those pillars, guard the knowledge around that cage. Seeing 1962 and then going back into generations before then and seeing the connection between those relatives is a really powerful thing. So within that, allowing a person to step into our experience and feel the deep, deep anxiety that we've been doing this for hundreds of years, and you're gonna come in and threaten that.
Where are they now? The pillars. You can tell me.
People are going to feel a bit of the genetic trauma that we carry as Indigenous people.
This was going to be the first time that we actually see Pennywise in the show. I wanted to create that tension, to create that build-up. I wanted to make something special. This season, the military is trying to find it. Because of his condition, Shaw makes Leroy spearhead the mission.
Leroy is our leader in this episode. The reason he's chosen is because, according to Shaw, he, quote unquote, doesn't have fear.
29 Neibold Street.
All of these men, they've all been educated about what it is and how it manifests itself. But understanding and seeing it in real life are two different things. This is the first time we actually enter Nebo. We prevised that first shot that we get of it when all the army jeeps and trucks are landing. It was really important to me to treat this location as a character and introduce it as such. The well is another iconic place in the movies. It was a different location, but we did a lot to make sure that it matched.
All right, boys, down the hatch.
It's the sewers. It's the coolest thing ever.
The crew is outstanding. The set was impeccable.
In retrospect, it was one of the coolest sets I've ever seen firsthand. I mean, the magnitude of it is just unfathomable.
But it was also the hardest set I've ever worked in my life.
Can you feel it? I feel something.
Even though Leroy is medically a fearless man, he's actually not.
Leroy, he's always seen himself as a family man, a good father, a good husband. And one of the worst things that could happen to him is hurting Charlotte.
Leroy, help! I'm scared.
He's now deep in the sewers, he's lost, and his wife appears.
Charlotte, what the hell are you doing down here?
Charlotte becomes a monster. He has to kill her.
Whoa! For a split second, Leroy believes that he's actually killed his wife. In that moment, he decides once and for all that anything he sees in this tunnel is fake.
Listen, whatever you see down here that's not supposed to be here, you fucking kill it.
Which leads him to one of the most emotional moments in the episode.
After Leroy shot down the incarnation of Charlotte, Will appears to him, with the only difference that Will is real this time. As unlikely as it may seem that Will is in the sewers, it's the real Will. And the one that realizes this is Paulie.
There's something very charming about the choices that Rudy makes for Paulie's character. Sometimes you wonder why Paulie's even a soldier.
I see him too.
Paulie intervenes and takes the bullet.
You're right, it's real!
Paulie's his best friend. This is someone who he's fought in the wars with. This is someone who is a brother to him.
It's okay. Watching these two fearless men finally break. I'm sorry. I loved it. I thought it was beautifully tragic.
In the water, Dick gets transported to his childhood with his grandfather.
Hey, Dickie.
And if you know the history of Dick Halloran, that's bad news. His grandfather is bad news.
Chris just has presence on screen. There's a lot happening in here, but also in his eyes. It was very, very intentional to have him seated on the floor the entire time, and his grandfather, who's not really a tall man, towering above him.
Power like this is meant to be used.
No. We had conversations about how the grandfather shrinks him in many ways. He's going to go right back into the state that he was as a child.
From that moment on, Dick is never the same in life. It breaks him. So I'm not a big Pennywise fan.
Maddie?
Maddie's reappearance is one of these big moments in an episode with a lot of big moments.
Where have you been?
The sewers. Low DERRY. That's where it lives.
For me and for Andy and the writers, at no point during the first half of the episode did we want the audience to believe that this was a manifestation.
We're getting close.
Maddie is not Maddie, it's it. I thought it would be a good idea to have Maddie transform into it in a way that we haven't seen before.
All of the tunnels are underground where none of the children will ever be found.
And that's where the idea of Maddie circling around a pole and singing this song arose. Suddenly, on the back of his head, there's something growing. We realize that that hole is a mouth full of teeth. The creature on his back starts taking over, and we realize that that creature is none other than Pennywise.
The clown! Duck and cover, kiddos.
I didn't want to show Pennywise in episode 1 or episode 2 or even episode 3 or 4. I wanted to create that tension, to create that build-up. It's very special to me. There's a lot in this show about interpersonal conflict and personal trauma. It's not about a bunch of people fighting a clown. It's the everyday fights of a family, of a group of friends, and a community.
In my episode, the darkness of the sewer has certainly affected the Hanlon family as it has affected everyone else.
So from now on, you don't leave your room without my permission. Do you understand?
No.
I love that scene. It's probably the first time that Will has ever said no to his father. He's finding his own strength.
No!
He's finding his own identity. When Leroy strikes him,
I would never let my friends die.
the ground is just taken out from under him.
Blake has a beautiful relationship with both of his parents. We used his relationship with his own parents to sort of find a way that none of that existed with his screen father.
Mr. Javon, I remember him, he didn't want to like come off as like abusive or anything like that, so he kind of made that change to his character, which I admire.
I'm sorry, sir. I had to find a way to justify Leroy striking Will. Leroy was stung by what Will said. Having to carry Paulie's dead body out of the sewers, that was the beginning of Leroy's unraveling.
It's one of the big arcs of the series is a family that is not perfect, a family that has dysfunctions, stuff that families are made of.
Lily?
We had a lot of conversations about this Ingrid character, but the more we sort of built out Ingrid, the more we said, well, wait a second, what if she's like so many things in Derry? What if she's not who she seems to be?
Have you seen him? Oh, sweetheart, you did it.
Ingrid has this delusion that it possessed her dad and that she will be able to liberate him.
This poor kid started her life in a circus, performing with her dad as little Periwinkle. When she realizes it's time for him to come back, she basically helps Pennywise get what he wants with the sole intention of being with him and seeing him.
The 1935 sequence was a great opportunity to shift the style of the show. The camera is often very active in the 1960s story. It felt exciting to move the camera less, to make it about stationary frames that tell the story in a heightened way that references film history. We weren't going for sheer realism in this sequence. There's an air of melodrama to it that I thought was appropriate coming from Ingrid's perspective.
Once Lily finds out Ingrid was plotting against all the kids, it takes a big toll on her. The entirety of the relationship wasn't real. That was really hard for her.
You have two characters who seem very bonded and have great trust in one another. And suddenly you see their parallel tracks go a different way. It's quite beautiful and it's terrifying at the same time.
Lily!
This thing I got, let me see things.
What kind of things?
Dead ones.
After the sewers, Dick is never the same in life. Like, it breaks him in a way, and it makes him have to put up a different kind of guard. In the torture of seeing all the worst things on Earth at once that you were hiding from. And that's what Dick is living.
It was just an incredible opportunity to sort of explore Dick's new predicament. He sees dead people. So the lensing on Dick changed. If he looks up, he sees dead people. If he listens, he hears dead people. I wanted it to feel claustrophobic.
You good? Yeah.
The black spot was Dick's attempt to find a safe space for black soldiers. It's a loud space, so even when the demon's awake, when he starts to see people, the noise helps keep it quiet for him. So it's just a place where he can feel a little bit normal.
We wanted to be very careful to honor the book, take Easter eggs and expand upon them, to really honor the fans and their dedication to the lore.
In the book, the black spot is a space for fun, for music, for dancing. So it's a space of unity that is unusual in the era.
I love the black spot because, first of all, that's like our hangout, our community as a black community, and it's like a really fun party place.
I was playing the drums. I had a drum coach, and I kind of got the hang of it.
Everybody's having like a fun time, you know, singing, dancing. Marge is drinking.
I
I loved filming the dancing part, like doing the 60s moves. March has just told off the patty cakes and had her moment, and she's feeling it, and Rich and her are kind of having their moment.
Our characters are feeling joy like we've not seen them experience so far in the season. I wanted to create a sense of impending doom.
Grogan. I know where he's hiding, and it ain't the rail yards.
The masked men, led by Clint, are coming. It was all about graphic compositions. We have a high-angle shot as all the cars pull in. Our characters don't even know who they are, but they come out of these trucks and cars with guns and terrifying masks.
You can see all the pieces moving. You can see the wheels turning. Everything is an orchestration. This trajectory is about to collide, and it becomes very tense. How did it become Pennywise? Why did it took its shape? Our journey was the excitement of shedding some light on the origin story of Pennywise.
It, in 1908, assumes the shape of Bob Gray, this sad guy who had lost his wife. He loved his daughter and he loved the circus.
The big tent will come a-calling again, but this time, my act will be different.
It wasn't a creature, it wasn't a monster, it was just a man in a clown suit trying to entertain kids. Why did it choose this form? What did it see in Pennywise? What it saw was someone who absolutely mesmerized little kids. For a creature whose whole thing is eating kids, that's a pretty attractive proposition. And that was where the Urchin Boy came from, this idea of it in an innocuous form, hidden somewhere in and around that show, just watching the way kids react to Pennywise.
I can't find my parents. Will you help me find them?
Every beginning of its cycle starts and ends with a big episode of violence. We call them auguries. And the black spot is one of them.
They chained us shut.
We started with the black spot as one of the most horrific events in the book, and we build a story around it. It starts like a space for the black airmen on base where they can have fun.
And the more we thought about that, we went, well, wait a second, there's a whole world of Derry we haven't explored, which is the world of the Derry Air Force Base. And so it was just this very fluid, fun, organic process, finding all these clues to what the story of Welcome to Derry was going to be. And it started with the black spot.
Watch out!
We wanted to create the impression that things were happening in real time with a single camera move. It was not easy to shoot.
Molotov one!
We had huge rehearsals so that camera knew what it was supposed to do, so the actors knew what to do, what stunts knew what they were going to do, what background knew what we were going to do. We layered it in. It's a very delicate process because these are pivotal moments.
Get down!
And there's fire, and there's screaming, and there's running, and there's actual physical danger, so we have to be very efficient.
We had about 35 to 40 people in this building. It was close quarters with a ton of fire. You couldn't see 3 feet in front of you. So we would rehearse, dance through everything, so when we started smoking it up, you could still get the job done.
3 days of burning. We burned down the black spot from all different angles. An incredible amount of fire and heat, and repeatable, so it could be on fire all night. But we weren't destroying the set because we needed to shoot for so many days in a row. It was a big push to really make sure we could do the scene justice.
There's not enough room for both. Please, no!
To keep the emotional stakes, we needed to lose one of these kids.
I love you, Rick.
That was like the most painful scene I think I've ever filmed. I love Rich so much.
I'm usually giving high fives to everybody, hugging everybody, but that day it was a little more calm because I was trying to really feel Richie in that moment. But I was happy that that happens because then it brings more life to the story and because Rich saves Marge.
Look at what happened last night. Americans have stopped hearing one another. And the one thing that makes people really listen is fear.
Francis Shaw's a man at a time. He sees America changing, and he doesn't recognize his country anymore. He's fought wars, to protect his country, but now it seems like the enemy is within. How do you fight the enemy within?
He believes that when people are afraid, they will listen. And he wants to be one single country behind one single goal.
Finish it! He realizes, if I can just release this creature onto America, this creature that makes people afraid, that'll scare people back into their place, maybe it'll be the America that I grew up in again.
It's nothing new. The idea of using fear to control people is not a new idea. We're just tapping into it with a little bit of a supernatural nuance.
That's what the monster in Welcome to Derry does. Uses people's divisions to set them against each other.
Rescind the order. Do it!
The final act is a combination of needs. We needed a ticking clock, a geographical environment that created that tension. This particular ending is just the tip of the iceberg. It was very intense.
Andy and Bill are very good friends, a bit of cosmic twin situation.
That's so funny.
It's important for me and for Bill, especially, to find new things about the character every time. Pennywise is always trying to lure a child into some game, or he seems very charming and then he twists his behavior into something dark.
Every time we say, ooh.
The Deadlights, they're described as variously the true form of Pennywise. The Deadlights are an interdimensional entity, and if a human looks at them, it's just too much for the human brain to comprehend.
How can it have taken all of them? How?
The final confrontation with all the kids and the clown fighting back, that is a titanic fight that has so many details, and it happens in an environment that is so vertical and so big. I wanted to illustrate the influence of it. That's why we created the fog. It's not only walking towards the open gate, but also like a fog expanding just a little bit ahead of him.
Filming on the Penobscot River was actually really fun. It was a lot of fog, and also it was really cool watching all the kids like float.
Well, look who decided to join the circus.
There was so much snow blowing in our hair and getting in our eyes, and the fog is crazy, and some parts of the floor are slippery, so we like to just like slide.
Where's the dagger? Where's the dagger?
The dagger is this iconic element. It's the charm that our heroes used to reseal the cage. We needed an iconic landmark to mark very clearly what is the point of no return. We created this geography in which it's marked by the Penobscot River, and at the other end of the shore, there's a tree. The dagger, basically the object that finally saves the day. But will they get there in time?
Dad! Dad!
Take the dagger. Take it to the tree.
Joe is one of these dark characters. He believes that people can be controlled by fear. This is a story about the weaponization of fear.
You're free. You're free to go.
At the end, because Pennywise doesn't discern much, it has an animalistic side to it. Also, his path to freedom is already granted, so he eats his liberator.
I never forget a smell.
Stop.
You stay back!
When Rose sees Taniel's fate, when I heard that first gut-curdling scream from Kimberly, I just felt so emotional.
It was so intense because that moment on the frozen river is a make or break for the entire future of humanity. The level of intensity that had to be maintained, I don't think I've ever experienced something that was ongoing like this.
There's not only Pennywise that is about to cross the line, but also the dagger that will stop him from crossing the line wants to go back, so it's basically pushing you back to where it belongs.
The pushing the dagger part took so long. And it was very tiring, because like in some shots they had like this rig where we actually like could push as hard as we can.
There's a whole range of obstacles and adversity in that final act.
34 Tango, take 9, mark.
Hey, you! Having a little bit of trouble, are we? Keep tugging that thing and it just might pop! So long, losers!
Richie comes back as a ghost, and he runs, he slides, and then he helps his friends.
For Halloran to see the ghost of this sweet kid who sacrificed his own life for someone else, to actually be the final thing that helps the kids push the creature back into its cage. That was a very healing thing for Dick, and we wanted to give Dick that closure.
The victory in this season is that they sealed the cage. There's the promise that he's back in the cage and he will not go out. He's still alive, as we know from watching the movies.
I would like for both of you to join us. Make sure that your old friends, or anybody else for that matter, never tries to reopen that cage.
I think the reason why Rose passes the torch of this duty to protect this town is because she knows that Leroy and Charlotte have a strong sense of duty.
This isn't the end of the story.
For us, it was very important that the Hanlons stay in town because eventually we meet Mike Hanlon, who is the first person we see in It Chapter 1. Mike with his grandfather Leroy, who is now a sheep farmer. What was very important for us was not only to link Welcome to Derry to the movies, but show some of the bloodlines. Marge is Richie's mom. These kids will give birth to the kids that end up killing Pennywise.
There's a scene in the epilogue of season finale in which Marge and Lily are talking, and there's a very interesting speculation that maybe it experiences time in a different way.
He said, to him, the past, present, and future are all the same, and that his death was actually his birth.
Maybe it is not going forward. In this case, maybe it can go back, which opens a window of speculation. There's a lot of mythology to be unveiled, but one thing we know is that it is an evil deity that was punished and was sent to Earth.
Oh dear, don't be sad. You know what they say about Derry. No one who dies here ever really dies.